Welcome back, it's me, Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and we are looking at these. This is going to be a double feature. We have Gamerverse of Marvel Avengers Captain America. We have his Shining Justice and his Oathkeeper. So, as I've mentioned previously, these are based off of the video game done by Square Enix. And as I said in many videos where I review the Gamerverse stuff, I still have to get around to playing the game. It's downloaded. It's been sitting down. It's been sitting in my computer. Not my computer. I've downloaded it. It's been sitting in my PlayStation for, I don't know, since day one. And this morning I updated it. And hopefully I'm going to get around to it this weekend. I shot maybe like 5 or 6 of these Gamerverse videos alone today. So... Yep, so we have the leader of the Avengers, Captain America. And this is a double feature because I believe these share the same mold. We're just getting 2 different versions of it. Alright, upon inspecting the packaging, I like the package design a lot. The white really pops. I love the really unconventional box design where it's 6-sided. Beautiful character artwork. I'm not a big fan of some of the redesigns, but it's executed really nice. On the side, we have a portrait of Cap himself. On the back, more character portraits of the team. Wish they could have went a little bit further with this and maybe list a bio or even description of the game or the universe this exists in. Alright, so let's pop this guy open. So this is the Shining Justice version of Captain America. I know they offer multiple skins in the video game. And there's a Marvel Legends cap that's out that's based off of this. And it looks like that figure has the actual costume that resembles this one right here. I'm not sure if that's an attempt on Hasbro's behalf to get you to double dip. Like if you want the more screen accurate costume, you get the Marvel Legends, but then if you want some of the variations, you buy the basic figures. For those who are uninitiated, these are the more affordable budget line of the Avengers video game figures. These will run you about $9. Unfortunately, these reviews are coming out well after these figures were released. So I've just been buying them because I've noticed that a lot of these characters are after like months, they're starting to like vanish from the shelves, and I don't think there's going to be another wave. And it looks like this Target and whoever else carries these, they're probably not going to restock on these figures. So I decided to get them now because I picked up 1 or 2, fell in love with them, and I'm like, I kind of want the whole set now. So in regards to these figures, I think I have almost all of them. The only ones I'm missing are the actual more premium Marvel Legend figures, like the Marvel Legends version of Atmosphere Iron Man. But there is a cheaper budget one, which I reviewed. I'm missing the premium Marvel Legends Hulk. And I think there might be another Iron Man too. I think one in like white armor. So inside the box, you get this little cardboard insert, as I've mentioned before. It's a great display piece. Throw it on the back of your shelf or even on the bottom, and you can have your character stand on top of it. First impressions out of the box, awesome. It looks cool. I love it how he's already iconically posed in the plastic tray. One thing that caught my eye is the shield looks very big. So these are smaller, slightly smaller figures than the Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends are 6-inch scale. These kind of fall anywhere between 5 and 5.5 inches. And now that we've freed him from his plastic bubble, okay, this is where I could be a little bit critical about this figure. One thing I like about this, so if you've seen a couple of my videos where I review some of the cheaper budget line toys, is that with Articulation, you get what you paid for. You're paying $9 for a cheaper figure that's not a, higher end 6-inch collectible. These are aimed more at kids 4 and up. So that in terms of Articulation, you might get something very limited. For example, Here's a Captain America from the Avengers Endgame, and this is from their budget line. And articulation wise, you only get this. This is very common for budget figures. They just kick up. This only comes in handy if you want to reenact like maybe a soccer game, but even then it's gonna be a poor game because the range of motion isn't very far. So for the same amount of money I paid for this, I paid for this. But this one, you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck. This guy can actually kick out to the side. So that's awesome. So even despite the fact that it's a budget figure, he has a lot of articulation, as you can see here. Instead of having a bicep swivel, he has a swivel at the elbow, which honestly I kind of prefer a little bit more. It doesn't break the illusion as bad as having an elbow cut. I mean, as having a bicep cut. Budget figures rarely have the waist swivel. Head on the ball joint. The detail and the sculpting on this figure is really beautiful. The cuts are nice and deep. Yeah, so nothing about this figure from a sculpting point of view looks budget. The sculpting on this is superb. Very lacking though in terms of the paint applications, which is to be expected. You're not going to get every buckle painted, every strap painted. For $9, this is the bare minimum. This is what you're going to get. But the details really make up for it. The folds and the wrinkles on the bodysuit, excellent. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the texture that's on the costume. His star is slightly marred. There's a little bit of looks like some of the paint on the front of it got scraped. That could have been done at the factory, I'm guessing. But it doesn't hurt the figure too much. I could easily touch that up, that little tiny blemish. Yeah, overall this is great. So I haven't played the video game yet, so I'm unfamiliar with this costume. It looks really close to a traditional Captain America outfit, except for the fact that his upper chest and his upper arms have this like red over it, which is cool. It's nice to get a cap redesign. What I would have liked to see, I'm not sure if there's a. So I have the two versions of Cap. I have this one, which is the Shining Justice, and then I have the other one, which I'm going to open in a minute, the Oathkeeper. None of those have the traditional Captain America color scheme, where it's predominantly blue, and then it has the red and white stripes around his abdomen. And I'm curious if there's another repaint of this, because when I saw these figures at Target, I don't remember, like the ones that I've bought recently. I got these online, and I remember when I bought some of these online, I'm like, I don't recall seeing this in the stores. So I'm not sure if certain stores got them, or maybe if the distribution was low. So we have a shield here, and as I mentioned earlier, my first thought was, wow, that shield looks pretty big. And so we'll compare sizes, because I do have a Marvel Legends shield on hand. So this is the Marvel Legends shield for Marvel Legends Civil Warrior. Let me grab that figure. Alright, so this is Civil Warrior from the Marvel Legends line. This too is also a Gamerverse character, but I believe it's not from the Avengers game. This is from, I think, Contest of Champions. And what's surprising is that the budget shield might actually be a little bit larger, just by a hair. And the detailing on it's nice too, even though this has a much more premium finish. Like this red looks a lot. It doesn't. This actually is painted. The red on here is actually painted, unlike here. Or I take it back. Or is this the? I'm not sure if this is a gray plastic with red paint or vice versa. But this is red plastic with paint on it. But despite the fact that this is a budget shield, the sculpting on this is really, really nice. If the camera could see, there's tiny concentric lines cut into the near edges of the shield. There's some slight relief on the star. So this is cool because you run your finger across it. It's not just a smooth surface. There's actually some, like, peaks and valleys in this shield, which is cool. And the design's a little bit more unique than some of the other cap shields. Instead of having the broader stripes, you have a much more narrower pinstripe. Some sculpting on the back. But as you'll see with some of the budget shields in this line, like the Taskmaster one, very minimal on what they did on the inside. They just give you a peg. They don't give you the straps or even a clasp. But that's okay. He has a hole here in his forearm. You can easily just plug the shield in, like so. And he even has the hole in the back where you can plug in the shield. So it's win across the board for this shield. Height-wise, when you want to compare it to a Marvel Legends fig, here's Cap, Marvel Legends. This is Steve Rogers. I believe this is, I want to say from Endgame. It's not Infinity War, because Infinity War he doesn't have the star. So this is the size comparison. Marvel Legends will always be taller than the budget figures. But that's not to take anything away from the budget figures. As I've stated, some of these have really excellent sculpting detail on it. So it's kind of a stretch if you want to fit this guy into your Marvel Legends shelf. It could work depending on what figure you place him next to or what character it is. In the case of Cap, you know, I'd like to think Steve Rogers is a certain height, and this guy kind of falls a little bit shorter. We'll compare him next to the other budget Cap. This is budget Endgame Cap. I believe this was from the 2-pack that came with Captain Marvel. Closer in height. This one, despite its price point, very excellent sculpting. The only thing that leaves to be desired is that, you know, I kind of wish they did more with his legs. But, you know, you get what you pay for, and this is a budget guy. Another budget Cap we could compare him to is, I love this Captain America. He's one of my favorite figures so far this year. This is from the Avengers Mech Strike line. This is a budget Cap. He has about the same amount of articulation, just like this guy. His legs even kick out. And he has a really badass looking, high-tech looking shield. His face sculpt, I've said this in other videos, is beautiful. Despite that, it's more cartoony toy line. They did a good job sculpting his face. I wouldn't mind, you know, the quality of the sculpt on his head. I could easily just take it off and plop it onto a Marvel Legends figure, and, you know, if I repainted it, none would know the wiser. All right, let's bring out this guy's mold mate. So this figure here shares the same mold. This is going to be the Oathkeeper Captain America. Same first impressions out of the box. It looks good. He's iconically posed. Shield in arm. Alright, so I don't want to get the shields mixed up in case they're different colors. Alright, so this might be a case of the maybe at the manufacturer, but the blues are slightly different. This blue on this cap is a little bit richer than this one, but I'm not sure if that's, you know, intentionally supposed to be the case. Maybe it's just different batches of paint were used. Exact same molding on the shields. Now this is the exact same figure as the one on the left. The only thing different is the color scheme, but it shares the same mold. I'm trying to. Okay, there we go. It's a little tight on the elbow. Nice, and that's what I said this before with this one. That the sculpting on here is nice and crisp. Look at the texture on the chest and on the shoulders. Really nice. For a $9 figure, for them to like give you a really high quality sculpt like this, I think is great. Nice deep cuts. Doesn't look soft. That's the one thing I have a problem with some of the Marvel Legends figures, that you pay $19 or $20 for a figure. And since they're using the same bodies sometimes across the board, you know, they're essentially this bare. They're just essentially this bare musculature. And they might depend on repaint or add-on accessories, or you might get a resculpt or retool of a forearm or something, but then the bicep's essentially the same that runs across the line with like 20 other figures. But it's cool when you get a nice, unique sculpt like this. You know, you're paying $9 for something someone put a lot of time into, and it's a great deal. Kids love these things. Adult collectors sometimes not so much, just because of the, you know, they don't necessarily fit with their 6-inch collection, and you know, sometimes people crap on budget figures because, you know, they're just budget figures. But there's nothing wrong with them. You know, I love them. One thing that this guy reminds me of, just staring at him, he looks like the G.I. Joe villain Scrap Iron. If you know what Scrap Iron looks like, he's kind of like a heavy ordnance Cobra Trooper. He has a black helmet with goggles over it, and his color scheme is predominantly dark blue and red. He has like a red tactical vest over like a blue jumpsuit, and he looks almost exactly like this. So, I mean, God, if I got another one of these, it'd be so easy to make a Scrap Iron figure. Alright, enough about that. So, I haven't played the video game yet. I know I sound like a broken record. I say that over and over again. So, I'm not sure in what capacity or how accurate this costume is. Excuse me, just losing my voice. Alright, so this one, when you look at him, he doesn't, right off the bat, he doesn't, color scheme wise, he doesn't look like Captain America. I think it's because there's too much red on him, but that's all right. That's forgivable, because you know, if this is true to his design, then it's awesome. One thing that caught me off guard is that at first I thought they didn't paint his star. I thought it was just plain blue, but if you look closely enough, it's actually painted black. It's just that the sheen of the black and the blue kind of come off the same, so they almost look like the same value. So it almost looks more blue than black, but it's actually black. Same with the A on his forehead. It's actually colored in black. I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that feels like I kind of want to take a silver pen or even a paintbrush and just paint the star silver and then the emblem, the A emblem on his head silver, just so it looks more like my traditional cap. But if this is how he looks in the video game, I'm just gonna leave it alone. We'll know soon enough once I start playing. And let's compare him to some of the other figures in that toy line. We have so these are the 2-pack. This is one of the figures that are still warming up the pegs at your local stores. It's an awesome 2-pack. I highly recommend you get it. We have Iron Man in his original Sin armor. I believe it's from the Marvel Now era. And then we have Taskmaster as he appears in the video game, I think. So they all, height-wise, they all kind of fall within the same height. It looks like Taskmaster might be a little bit taller because of the hood. Next to Iron Man about the same height. This is a beautiful sculpt also. If you haven't watched my video yet, check this out. There's nothing budget about the sculpting on this figure. The sculpting alone is premium, and he has range of movement too. So this is an awesome line. I don't know why. I guess I do know why this, you know, collectors do overlook this toy line, but it's great. I love it. $9. You get this really kick-ass action figure. Okay, final thoughts on this video before I wrap this one up. They're great. The Avengers Gamerverse stuff is really cool. The budget figures have really surprised me. They've exceeded my expectations. I think one reason why I held off on them too is because I collected some of the Infinity War budget figures, and I love those to death. Those are amazing. And I felt that the Endgame ones came up kind of short, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, I do like them, but it just bothered me, I guess, that, you know, most of them shared this costume, which makes sense if you see the movie. So, I didn't get too much variation in terms of the costume, and then the fact that, you know, this is the amount of range of movement in his legs. It's kind of a weird turnoff. Not that these action figures are supposed to turn me on, but I don't know. There was just something about the Endgame figures that they were still quality, and I do feel like they were worth the price of admission and then some. But I kind of felt like at a certain point I've been there and done that until I got the Mech Strike stuff. And as I've stated in some videos, there was something about these lines of figures that make me feel like I'm a kid again. They're not overly complicated. They're simple. The playability is really high. And you can say the same thing about the Marvel Legends stuff too, but there's something about holding the more basic figures that feels like a toy versus something like this, where this kind of feels more like a collectible, if that makes sense. And I think in the state of mind I'm in right now, I'm feeling a little bit more playful, so I want something that feels more like a toy. So I bought the Mech Strike stuff, fell in love with it, and then I'm like walking through the stores, and I'm like, hey, there's those cheap Gamerverse figures. If they're anywhere near as fun as the Mech Strike stuff, I should check them out. And I did, and I love them. They're great. I reviewed the Gamerverse Ms. Marvel previously, and I love this figure, and it's awesome. She's awesome. And I think this one's even more detailed than the Marvel Legends one. It doesn't have the articulation, but the sculpting alone and the texturing they're giving her costume, it's awesome. And I think they even did her hair better. So yeah, I highly recommend the Gamerverse stuff. Pick it up now. They're vanishing off the shelves, not because they're a hot item, but just because they've been there for a long time. The video game came out some time ago, and it doesn't look like they're going to replenish this line of figures. Those 1 or 2 waves might have been it. So back to Captain America. Great figures. Check them out. Pick them up if you get the chance. Once again, my name is Lou. Thank you for joining me on this action figure adventure. I'm glad that you get to spend some time with me. And it means a lot to me that you devote, or you're giving up at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes to even an hour's worth of your time to check out my videos. It means a lot. I don't necessarily put out the best content, but I like to at least think I'm putting out something that's meaningful. So, you have yourself a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Later.